Hello and welcome to CIPD Bitesize. In this video, we're looking at AC 3.3 of the Wellbeing at Work 5OS7 module, and it is a continuation on the theme. 4 questions in part 2. You have a total of 1900 words, 475 words per AC. But if you've watched the AC 3.2 video, you'll know that you're going to have already directed quite a lot of words at that. So now we're in efficiency area. 300 words per AC. I'd be gunning for this, which is explain how your well-being program would be implemented in a way that is suitable for InsureSave Limited. Because remember, you work for InsureSave. Work for InsureSave. Put yourself in the InsureSave mentality. You're now an insurance agency. I don't think that's the right word. Anyway, you work for InsureSave. I don't work for, I work for HRC. You work for InsureSave. I'm trying to help you. So explain how your well-being program would be implemented. So we're now thinking about the ideas that you've got for well-being initiatives that you did in AC 3.1. In AC 3.2, you then designed a well-being program that focused on one of these initiatives, and now in AC 3.3 you are implementing it. How are you going to implement this? And I would allocate 300 words to this, so let's just break down the question as we always do into its component parts. Explain is the verb. If you don't address the verb, you don't pass the question. How your, remember, this is your design, your ideas, everything that you've identified from the graphs, from the case study, from everything that's been given, how you've built out, so it's your program, would be implemented in a way that is suitable for InsureSave. So when we think about implementation, we think about how am I going to get this off the ground? How are we going to make sure that this is a success? And it needs to be suitable for InsureSave. So you need to think about the people that are in the business, where they are, what groups they're in, and especially if you've identified a group, because in 3.2 you've had to address the people involved and affected. How do you engage with them? How do you make it work for them? How do you get it going forward? Okay, so how I would approach this is explain is your verb, so it's to make something clear to understand by describing or giving detailed information. And my action point 1 will be, how would you implement your idea? So I would allocate probably around about 200 of my 300 words to how I would implement it. And I may do a graph, I may do a chart, I may do a series of interventions. I may say, okay, well, we're going to have this meeting here, we're going to do this here, we're going to do this there, and we're going to have a whole series of different bits and pieces to make sure that everybody is heard and everyone is basically everyone knows what's going on. And then we're going to do other bits and pieces, and then how implementation is suitable. That's where I would draw data from the case studies and go, okay, well, as you can see, these people are here, these people are here, these people are here, and this is how we're going to do it and stuff like that. So that's how I would go about the implementation. That's how I would go about making sure. Just make sure that you build it out subheadings or a distinct summary of the paragraph below. References, case studies, implementation success is key. There's so many good case studies out there, and I think what we're probably going to focus on is a whole range of case studies so that you can get different ideas of implementation, so that you can say, I would implement it this way, and if we look at this case study, you can see they implemented it similar. If we look at this case study, we implemented it similar, stuff like that. So let me give you some case studies to look at I think will be helpful. And as you know, say all the time, CIPD loves CIPD, so let's look at some CIPD case studies because they like how their information is put together. So we've got a case study in financial well-being, which is from Leak Building Society. We've got a case study in hybrid working and employee well-being, which again could be something if you've got a lot of call center workers in an office based and you need to give hybrid. So that was for the SOS Foundation. Supporting employees' financial well-being, West London NHS Trust. So again, a non-for-profit type approach. And menstruation and menstrual health from the Northern Care Alliance, which is again really good sort of initiative and really good implementation plan as to how they approach that type of thing. Let's just swap the camera. There we go. So think about how you would go about it. Think about how you would do that. Now, normally what we do at this point is we give you a fictitious scenario to sort of help you contextualize the question and just sort of give you an idea of what's going on. So for this, we're going to tell you a tale about the distracted donkeys and the magical carrots. So in the bustling donkey metropolis of Eorsville, donkeys were renowned for their hard work. They hauled carts, ploughed fields, and even participated in the occasional donkey derby. However, dedication came at a cost. Many donkeys suffered from chronic carrot fever, a debilitating condition characterized by an insatiable craving for carrots, leading to anxiety, exhaustion, and a general lack of enthusiasm for anything that wasn't carrot related. I feel like that with coffee and chocolate sometimes. Anyway, Mayor Winnie the Pooh, a wise old bear with a penchant for honey, recognized the seriousness of the situation. We need a well-being program, he declared, to rejuvenate the donkey workforce and prevent a full-blown carrot collapse. A team of experts, including Dr. Owl, the resident philosopher, Kanga, the fitness guru, and Tigger, the boundless energy consultant, were assembled to brainstorm a multi-pronged approach for focusing on implementation to maximize impact. To start with, they implemented something called Carrot-Free Friday. God, imagine it, like a coffee-free Friday. I'd be in a terrible mood. To implement that, a clear communication plan was crucial. Notices were posted throughout Eorsville outlining the purpose of Carrot-Free Fridays and suggesting alternative snack options. Carrot-Free Friday committees were formed, each in a donkey district responsible for organising alternative activities and ensuring compliance. They had a mindful munchies workshop, and the way they implemented that were workshops were conducted in small interactive groups led by Dr. Owl. Practical exercises were incorporated, such as guided meditations while eating a single carrot, and discussions on the importance of mindful eating were created. A bounce-a-thon fitness program was put into place, and the implementation, Tigger with his infectious enthusiasm designed a series of fun and engaging exercise suitable for all fitness levels. Another implementation to ensure that they were getting all this right was a survey was conducted to identify the most desirable locations for haystack hideaways, which were relaxation zones created. By carefully considering the implementation and the best way to implement each of the identified initiatives, the team ensured that the wellbeing program was not just a set of good intentions, but actually practical and effective solutions to the donkey's carrot fever. The program was a resounding success, demonstrating the power of thoughtfulness, planning, and consistent effort, improving the well-being of the entire donkey community. Now, donkeys obviously in this are employees in the organization. Carrots are work deadlines and the constant pressures that you need to achieve, not anything worse. Carrot fever is stress, burnout, and the lack of work-life balance, and the wellbeing programs are strategies to improve employee mental and physical health. Now, the key takeaways for this is clear communication, effective communication, the purpose of benefits are all essential. Developing a detailed plan for each initiative and how it was going to be done is critical for success. Timelines, resources, responsibilities, employee involvement, encourage employee participation, all part of the planned implementation process. Regularly evaluate effectiveness, and evaluation comes next in AC 3.4, but just ensuring that you try. It doesn't have to be perfect. Your implementation can fail. Many implementations do fail, but as long as you know what you're doing and then you've got another plan as to how you can pivot into something else, that's the key. Implementations need a level of flexibility to be able to pivot to the needs of the people, because you might get some feedback, and if you're so rigid in your implementation, just know that you might go off track. Now, I would say with all, I talk about you need about 7 different plans and stuff like that. This is an academic exercise, so you can be a little bit more rigid when answering your question. Remember, you don't need 17 different implementation plans, but just an element of flex for feedback allows for implementation to be more successful, because nobody's going to get it perfect every time. You're going to need to get some feedback to improve it, and how do you open those communication channels within your implementation process to make it successful? That's the critical part for this question for me. Absolutely best of luck, and we will catch you in the next one. Take care.